Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So on today's tutorial I'll be showing us how to alter a basic bodice pattern into a tube pattern. So to be able to achieve this, I'll be using our French curve marker, tape roll and our scissors. So the first step is to draft your plain paper, your pattern paper, either the brown paper or the white paper, any one that you of your preference. Then the next thing is to insert your body measurements. Since we're dealing with the upper body, our highest circumference on the upper body is our bust measurement. So we'll just do it into two. Now this our pattern is divided into two. Do you understand? It's divided into two. We have the front pattern and the back pattern. I'll be drafting the two of them at the same time on a half scale body. Yes. So the next thing we do is to bring out our half length. Now we are working with a half length of 18 inches, but our pattern paper is actually on 20 inches. So now this is the front pattern. This is the front pattern and then the back pattern. So I'm just going to write it on top of it so that we don't get confused. So this is our front pattern and this is our back pattern. Yes, which I outlined as FT and BK. So then the next thing to do now is to insert our shoulder measurement. Now we are working with a shoulder of 15 inches. So we are inserting it on the fold, which is 7.5 inches. So I've marked it for the front and I'm marking it now for the back. Now the next thing we do is to bring out our shoulder slope. Now we are working with a shoulder slope of 1.5 for the front and 1 inches for the back. Then the next thing is to bring out we're working with a high neck measurement. We're bringing out the high neck measurement of 3.5 inches. Now, this was achieved by doing my bust divided by 12 inches, which happens to be 3.25. So I just made it a round figure of 3.5 so that it's not going to be too choky or tight at the neck side. So I've connected my neckline to our shoulder slope for the front and now the back. And once this is achieved, the next thing you have to bring out is your armhole line. That's the line that we're going to use to form the armhole. So I'm using 8 inches. And I got 8 inches from dividing 38 by 6 inches. Then I added 1.5 to it. So I'm marking it on it now, which happens to be from the beginning of the fold for the front. I got 9.5 because of the shoulder slope there that I added. So I just outlined it there. So now this is me trying to mark my chest line. This is us trying to get our chest line now. So that's for the front and now it's for the back. Then the next thing we're going to do here now is to insert whatever we got for our shoulder measurement. We'll bring it down to the bust, to the chest line, mark the same thing there. Yes, then rule a straight line. This line is going to give us a guide to be able to get our armhole curve. This is me just cross-checking to be sure that it is right. Then the next thing, we're bringing out our shoulder to nipple. Our shoulder to nipple line, which is 12 inches. And the next is we join the lines, the dots together there. We proceed to bringing out our shoulder to under bust. Which is 15 inches. So I'll just mark out my 15 inches on the ends so that I can be able to get a perfect straight line. Yes, so this is my chest line, my nipple line, and then my under bust line. So the next step now is to bring out our shoulder to waist line. Now our shoulder to waist line here is 18 inches. Our shoulder to waist line here is 18 inches. Then the next thing is to bring out our back waistline, which happens to be 16 inches, because our front waistline and our back waistline are not the same thing because of the presence of our bust. Please, if you're a bit confused on that, I'm going to drop the link to my previous video on how to take accurate body measurement so you watch and understand better. So the difference between our front waistline and our back waistline is 2 inches here for this particular client. So I just applied it to the back. Now the next thing now is to come up on the armhole line for the front by 3 inches. Then go in by ½ inches on that spot that is marked 3 inches. Then from there you draw a curve down. Draw a curve down to get your armhole curve. Now for the back armhole line, all you need to do is to divide whatever you have there into 2. When you divide it, you come in by ½ inch, rule a line, then get your armhole curve. And the next thing that we are going to do here is to bring out our neckline. Now, working with the neckline measurement, we are using a high neckline. So what we're going to do is to divide our bust by 12. Yes, when you divide your bust by 12, then you're able to get your perfect fitting neckline. So in this case, the bust divided by 12 is 3.25, but I'm going to make it a round figure to be 3.5. So I'm bringing it out on the both ends. And after doing that, I will now draw my curve to get a perfect curve. Yes, you have to know how to place your French curve in order not to get a kind of funny looking neckline curve. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the back, but in this case I'm going to come down by just 1 inch, then go in by 3.5, then use my curve, place my curve properly and get a perfect curve. You just have to keep shifting your curve until you're able to get a perfect curve. It's not just to place it and draw. You keep shifting your curve until you're able to get a perfect looking curve. Then you draw your line. Yes, so that's it for this particular stage. Then the next measurement we are going to be taking here is trying to bring out our bust span measurement, which is otherwise known as nipple to nipple. So to be able to achieve this, how I get perfect nipple to nipple without taking the measurement of my clients is to take whatever I have on my armhole line and divide into 2. Yes, you know how we got our armhole by saying bust divided by 6.1 plus 1.5. So what I had was 8, so I just divided my 8 into 2, which happens to be 4 inches. So I just came down on the line on the center front and came in by 4 inches and rolled a line from my nipple point down to my waistline, then open a dart leg of ½ inch both sides. So this is me drawing the line, joining the lines together to meet up with the dart leg. You can do your dart leg of ½ inch, you can do 1 inch, but I am used to doing ½ inch and it works for me perfectly. So from there, the next thing to get your perfect bustier curve, the next thing you do is come in by 1.5 inches, and from the other end come in by 1 inch. Yes, so once you do that, you now draw your curve. Draw a curve to meet that 1.5 you came in by, then turn it the other way and draw another curve to meet the 1 inch that you came in by. So the next thing that we do here is to come in here, come on the waistline. You from the line by the left, you come in by 1 inch rather than 1.5. The other side, you just take it down to the dart leg. It joins the dart leg, so it's supposed to be looking exactly like this after you must have drafted it. Then the next thing, we come down to the shoulder line because we're working with a straight dart. Since the tube, we're trying to achieve it. Tube top, we're trying to achieve. So from half of it up there, you measure half of it. Then you draw a straight line down to the nipple points. Yes, so it's going to look exactly like this. Now once you're able to achieve it, the next thing that you're supposed to do is to determine the length of your cleavage, like where you want the tube top to start from. Like if you want it to be so deep that your cleavage will be showing, or you want it to be up, like covered very well. So this is the point where you just freestyle and do what you want here. So as for me, I took the measurement of my client, and she said 7 was just perfect. So we'll be working with 7 inches. Yes, and now the tube I'm trying to make is not something that has a deep sweetheart neckline. You know, most tubes have this deep sweetheart neckline, but this one doesn't have such. It's just more like a straight, just a little bit of curve at the chest area. So this is me trying to, you know, just get a bit of curve. So I just came down by half an inch on that 7 inches, then traced it down to the armhole area. Yes, so it's not really going to be curvy on that part. Now the next thing to do is to do our upper bust tightening. Now this is going to be achieved by coming in by 1 inch towards the armpit area, and then towards the other chest area you come in by 0.75. Yes, so when you do this, you now use your armhole curve to trace it down to your nipple point. Turn it the other way and trace the other one down to your nipple point too. So we have a total of 1.75. Now I'm going to insert that same 1.75 after the armhole. Now my reason for this is because once I take out that area, that area, it is going to shorten our measurement. So all I need to do is to add it back after the armhole, so that even when I cut it out, it doesn't reduce the measurements of the person. Because if you ignore this part, you might end up having a clothes that will not fit that person, or that will be too small if you don't have enough allowance. So this is how I do it. I just extend it, so I just add my normal half-inch allowance when I'm transferring to the fabric. Now I'm just trying to get the perfect curve. I'm just trying to make it a bit curvy, so I just use my marker to trace it down to the chest area. Just a rough sketch, nothing too serious over there. So that's all for the front. So when you draft your front, it should be looking like something like this. So I've already altered the normal basic bodice now pattern. I've altered it into a tube pattern for the front part. Now we are moving to the back part. Yes, and the next thing we're going to do here is just to bring out the darts for the back. Now bringing out the darts for the back here, all we need to do is to come up first by half an inch to eliminate back folds after making a dress. Then you trace it down to the waist side. Then you come in again by either 0.5 or 0.75 and trace it out too from the back. Now once you're able to do this on the outfit, it eliminates excess fold at the back. Even whether you're using a zipper or you're using a lacing bar or whatever it is you need to use, you should apply this once you are drafting a pattern. Then the next thing we're going to do here is to try to get the dart leg, and this will be achieved by getting exactly half of whatever it is that you have there, dividing the back into 2. That's half. Then you draw it down. Then you take half inch both ends. Then you draw it down. Yes. Then you open up your dart leg like this, like what I just did here. This is how we alter the back pattern. Then the next thing you're going to do is that, because we're trying to achieve the same curve we have at the back, that's the same tube curve, so you have to make sure that it's the same length with what you have in front. So here is 3 inches, so I'm just going to mark 3 inches. Then from there, that place is going to guide me into whatever I want to have at the zipper area. Now this zipper area is your preference. If you want it to be very deep, it's left to you. If you want it just to be straight, it's left to you. If you want it to have a little bit of curve, left to you. So I'm going with a little bit of curve. I'm not going with anything too serious out there. So I'm just going to extend the dart leg to our new top length from the bust, from the back area. So I'll now extend it out 2 by 1 inch. The same thing I did for the front. Whatever I removed from the dart area, I extended it out, to give me another new measurement. So now I'm just marking out the of these places I'm marking X are no more necessary again for the tube top. So what we are just going to use, just going to achieve right here is just the bust line. There's the bust darts rather, because at this point if you look at our pattern, you will see that the front pattern is longer than the back pattern. That's because of the length of the front is higher than the back length. So all you need to do here is just to come down by 2 inches from the nipple area, then draw a straight line meeting the nipple points, and that is it. So when you close up your darts, it becomes the same thing. Once you close up your darts, then it becomes the same length with the back length. So this is a perfect set. So now we are done, and so this pattern set is ready and ready for cutting. So to be able to cut this, remember we're going to close our bust dart, so we just need to cut it out to be able to get hold of it. And now when doing this particular exercise, like when cutting it, you have to be very careful not to cut out the important parts. Remember the places we're cutting, I just take note of the places I'm cutting. These places are going out. Yes, they are going out, they are not needed. So the only places that we need now are those places that I am trying to, I'm being very careful about not to cut out. And remember that once we are able to achieve this, the next thing we are doing now is to close up our bust darts. Yes, so you close up your bust darts like this, and then you use a paper tape, a masking tape, or pin, depending on what you have available around you. And you do it. So that is our front part setting is very, very ready. So we're just going to set our front pattern aside because we won't be needing that until we're ready to transfer it to the fabric. Then the next we're going to do here now is to cut out our back pattern, and this is the way we're going to cut it. So here you're going to cut out that place that you outlined for going, that is going out, or that you cut it out, is no more necessary. So this is exactly our front pattern is ready, and then our back pattern too is also ready to be transferred to our fabric. Yeah, so I'm going to show us in another video how to properly transfer it to fabric, measurements and the allowances to take note of. So this is me just writing the center front, side front. So please guys, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and please, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do that. Give this video a thumbs up, and please do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell. So till I upload a video next time. Bye.